I grew up in a family with a modest income. My parents held decent jobs, but with 4 siblings and me to support, we often faced financial challenges. Wearing hand-me-down clothes and eating budget-friendly meals was simply part of our everyday life. Thankfully, we had a house that my grandmother had passed down to my dad, providing us a stable home in a friendly neighborhood filled with families of varying income levels. The house next door sat empty for years until a new family moved in. Their son, Benjamin, who was my age, quickly became the only other kid in our area. Although Benjamin was homeschooled and I attended public school, our families arranged for us to spend time together, and we became inseparable friends. As I navigated social situations at school, I shared tips with Benjamin, which his dad, Henry, found invaluable. Over time, Henry recognized the need for Benjamin to experience a well-rounded education, especially in relation to their family business. As Benjamin flourished with our friendship, Henry began to see the positive impact of a more varied learning experience. He often expressed his gratitude in unique ways. Henry, a man of few words, never directly thanked me. Instead, he would send me home with abundant food for my family and surprise me and my siblings with small gifts on our birthdays or other special occasions. However, not everyone was pleased. Emily, Benjamin's mother, grew increasingly uncomfortable with how generously Henry treated me, believing it unfair to their son and too indulgent toward the neighbor's child. She voiced her discontent through snide remarks and attempted to discourage Henry from showering me with gifts. Yet, her efforts often backfired, as Henry would respond by giving me even more, almost defiantly. Beyond how Henry treated me, Emily faced her own struggles in her marriage. Their frequent arguments created a tense atmosphere that affected Benjamin, causing him to become more withdrawn. After many attempts to reassure him, I earned Benjamin's trust, and we grew closer. As time passed, I found myself developing romantic feelings for him, but I never acted on them. There was one instance when Benjamin came to my house visibly upset after a fight with his mother. He seemed restless as he paced in my room. "What's wrong? You seem really upset. You know you can talk to me, right?" I asked gently. "I know, but there's something I'm not sure I can share," he replied, his voice heavy. "You don't have to tell me everything, but if you feel up to it, just share a little. Sometimes, talking helps," I encouraged. "It's about my mom. We had a huge fight. I couldn't take how she treated my dad anymore, and I lost it. She said something really hurtful, and that's why I'm so upset." "I'm really sorry to hear that. Do you feel comfortable sharing what she said?" "It's too painful. I'd rather not get into it. Families are complicated, but they're still family. Try not to let anger ruin your relationships with them. Give yourself time to process your feelings." "Thanks for being so supportive, Kathleen. You always know how to comfort me," he said, a small smile breaking through his distress. At that moment, I believed it was best for Benjamin to remain close to his family, trusting that they had his best interests at heart, despite their flaws. If only I had known the deeper truths, I would never have encouraged him to forgive and stay close to them, especially his mother. As time went on, we both graduated high school and enrolled in the same college. Benjamin chose to take online classes while I attended campus. Having worked since I was 15, I had saved enough to rent my own apartment with some help from Henry. Moving out allowed Benjamin and me to spend more time together away from our families. Eventually, we both admitted our strong feelings for each other, and after an awkward but heartfelt confession, we officially became a couple. My parents were thrilled, but Benjamin's parents had mixed reactions. Henry offered a calm congratulations, while Emily showed her disapproval with a grunt. We decided not to dwell on her reaction and focused on our new relationship. After college, Benjamin proposed, and within 2 weeks, we were married. At that moment, I felt like I had everything. My childhood friend was now my husband, always there for me, and I loved him wholeheartedly. However, shortly after we tied the knot, Benjamin began to travel more for work. Concerned about my being alone, he suggested that I move in with his parents. I was hesitant, but he did his best to convince me. "I'm not sure about living with your parents. Your mom and I don't really get along," I replied, "but think about it, we could have our own space, a whole floor just for us, complete with our own kitchen. I want you to feel secure, and being close to my family would ease my mind. It would be like having our own place but with the option of them visiting or me visiting them. Please consider it. It could help improve your relationship with my mom." "Okay, if it means that much to you, I'll give it a try. I just hope it doesn't cause any issues between us." "Thanks, love. I'll do my best to make sure everything goes smoothly." I agreed to his request because I wanted him to feel at ease when he couldn't be with me. Having some personal space also reassured me, knowing my parents lived nearby if I needed them. However, Once I moved in with his family, I quickly realized that Benjamin hadn't been completely forthcoming. I wouldn't have the house to myself. I was stuck sharing it with his mother, Emily. Whenever Benjamin traveled for work, he followed his dad's orders, leaving me alone with a woman who didn't particularly like me. Thankfully, Emily's disdain mostly manifested in the form of occasional snide comments. The worst part was when she would ask about my food preferences and then deliberately fail to prepare anything for me. Often exhausted from my own job, I'd either whip up a quick meal or resort to takeout. As long as I kept to my room, things remained uneventful. That was until one day when Benjamin asked me to rummage through his office to find and scan a specific file for him. As I sifted through his cluttered drawers, one in particular caught my attention because it felt different. When I touched it, I noticed it was less full than the others, with a hidden compartment at the bottom. Though I knew I shouldn't pry, curiosity overwhelmed me. I opened it and found a file that intrigued me, a paternity test showing that Henry wasn't Benjamin's biological father. I was shocked. How could Benjamin have kept such a significant secret? I wondered if Henry even knew the truth. Before I let my thoughts spiral, I decided to return the file and send Benjamin the scans he needed. My instincts urged me to snap a quick photo of the paternity test first. After tidying up, I found the document Benjamin required and sent him the scanned copies. Back in my room, I tried to push aside the unsettling details and hoped to discuss them with Benjamin face to face. Suddenly, there was a knock on my door. Emily walked in, her expression tense, and accused me of uncovering their hidden truth. I admitted I had, and she revealed that Henry was unaware, emphasizing his obsession with having a successor. Emily defended her actions, claiming Benjamin was complicit in the deception, having grown accustomed to their way of life and unwilling to let it go. "Are you really convinced this is okay? What if I tell Henry?" I challenged her. "Oh, please, do you honestly think someone like you could disrupt our little fantasy? I'd simply convince Henry that you're making up stories to cause trouble. He'd choose us over you in a heartbeat. Your little scheme is doomed to fail. Keep dreaming. I've never liked you, Kathleen. I've been trying to steer Benjamin away from you for years. This is the perfect excuse for him to find someone from his own social circle. The truth will always come out. It always does. Save your fairy tales for someone who cares. Good luck with that. If you're smart, you won't meddle in this." With that, she left the room, and my heart raced with a whirlwind of questions. The revelations about Benjamin and Emily left me feeling deeply betrayed. Emily had never hidden her disdain for me, but I never anticipated her going so far as to deceive me like this. What hurt the most was Benjamin's betrayal. How could he deceive the person who raised him? How long had he known? Did he feel any guilt? I also feared he might choose to side with Emily and abandon me. That night, sleep eluded me as my mind spiraled with questions. The following day was a blur. When Henry returned from his work trip, I couldn't meet his gaze. Guilt gnawed at me. I wanted to confess everything, but I feared Emily would twist the narrative and portray me as the villain. That evening, Henry suggested we have dinner together. I sat silently, responding only when he asked about my work. During dinner, Emily shared her desire for a vacation with Benjamin. "Henry, I really miss Benjamin. I think it would be wonderful for us to enjoy a 6-week trip to Hawaii together. He's been working so hard. He definitely deserves a break, don't you think?" "But doesn't Benjamin have a lot of work commitments?" "I'm not an expert, but won't the business be affected by his absence?" Henry replied, looking concerned. Henry ran the business for years before Benjamin joined. "A short break shouldn't be a problem," Emily insisted. "You're right, and Benjamin could use the time off." "Okay, go ahead, I'll take care of things here." "Thanks, Henry." "Kathleen, why don't you join them?" "Oh, that won't work. It's supposed to be a special time for mothers and sons. Plus, it might feel awkward, like I'd be intruding. What do you think, Kathleen? Want to come?" "Oh, she probably has her own plans. Let her decide," Henry interjected. I was about to voice my discomfort when I suddenly felt a sharp kick to my shin under the table. Looking up, I met Emily's stern gaze. I wanted to speak out, but I knew it wouldn't change anything. Feeling trapped, I concocted a clever plan. I would speak to Henry when they weren't around. So, I stayed silent, nodding along as if I were fine with the trip. Emily looked pleased, and Henry gave her the green light. Later that evening, I called Benjamin. "Are you going on the trip with your mom?" I asked. "Yeah, I don't really have a choice," he replied, sounding resigned. "That's not true. You can choose not to go along with her plans. Things are messed up, and honestly, part of that is because of your choices." "What do you mean? How is any of this my fault?" Benjamin asked, confusion lacing his voice. "If you had respected my privacy earlier, None of this would have happened. There's a lesson I didn't share with you. 5 years ago, during a big fight with my mom, she revealed that I'm not actually Henry's son. I thought about telling Henry and even hinted at it to my mom, but she dismissed it, warning it could lead to us being kicked out, so we're stuck keeping this secret. Now that you know, I can't keep you in my life anymore. He hung up, leaving me in shock. I couldn't believe that the person I cared for could be so heartless. Was this who he always was, or had he changed due to greed? I cried myself to sleep, struggling to comprehend how our 5 years of friendship and love had unraveled into something so painful. It felt as though I had been nothing more than a replaceable friend to him. The next day, fueled by anger and a desire for payback, I caught Benjamin quietly preparing for his trip with Emily. Although sadness weighed on me, I resolved to take the high road. Henry would be away on a brief business trip for the next 5 days, so I would have to hold off on my plan until he returned. Once Benjamin and Emily left, I occupied myself by going through their things. Unfortunately, the hidden compartment in Benjamin's drawer was empty, and the file was missing. It seemed Emily had disposed of it, but it didn't matter, I still had a picture of it. As I waited patiently, I gathered evidence of what Benjamin and Emily were up to. I stumbled upon Benjamin's secret Instagram account, where he shared stories of going out with various women and thanked his mom for introducing him to these amazing ladies. Despite my heartache, I took screenshots of each post. Armed with this proof, I called Henry and urged him to come home immediately. Just as he promised, he arrived by 8 p.m., looking anxious and concerned. I confessed to Henry that things were not going well and revealed the true purpose behind Benjamin and Emily's trip, to help Benjamin find a new wife. Henry's face fell as he processed the screenshots I had shown him. His initial surprise morphed into disbelief, then anger and disgust. Stammering, he demanded to know how anyone could do something so despicable. I urged him to sit down, emphasizing the importance of the revelations I was about to share. Holding up a printed copy of the images, I laid the evidence before him. He sat in silence, grappling with the shocking truth. As I hesitated to share everything I had discovered, I watched his expression shift from shock to fury. Without a word, he quickly called his bank to stop his credit cards, realizing Emily and Benjamin relied on those for their trips. He also canceled Benjamin's work card, leaving them financially stranded. Once he dealt with the immediate threat, Henry's anger began to simmer down. I apologized for unloading so much at once and expressed my regret. He reassured me, saying he never imagined Emily would stoop to such depths. He was grateful to have uncovered the truth while still retaining control of the business. Concerned that Emily and Benjamin might return, Henry decided to end his marriage with Emily and asked both of them to leave the house. I supported his decision and suggested that he file for divorce from Benjamin as well. However, he insisted I stay, expressing his desire to pass down the business to me as if I were his own daughter. The following days were a whirlwind of sadness and anger as we proceeded with the divorce. Ignoring repeated attempts from Emily and Benjamin to contact us, Henry took steps to ensure our safety, obtaining restraining orders against them. When Benjamin finally reached out, he accused me of betraying him by telling Henry everything. I denied his claims, assuring him I had proof of his mother's and his deceit. He couldn't believe I had evidence and labeled me as heartless. As the weeks passed, Henry and I finalized the divorce. We gathered Benjamin and Emily's belongings and gave them 2 months to retrieve their items from storage. I left my job to join forces with Henry, determined to leave the past behind us. Despite the difficulties, we found comfort in each other's company. Finally, I opened up about my experiences, urging everyone to choose the right path no matter the obstacles, for you never know how life might repay your choices.